Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 295. Each week we meet here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google Plus and the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. With us tonight we have David Rosam. David is not as old as me, but some people say...
Well, I have aspirations to be as old as you, Jim, in about 20 years.
David is a leading internet marketer. He's based in on the southern coast of England. He can be found at writingforseo.org and David Rosam at davidrosam.com. Is that correct?
Hang on, that's an email address. davidrosam.com is a website.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, I shouldn't have said the email address. The spammers can line up. All right.
Okay, there are plenty of them. It won't make any difference.
Masataki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net in the UK. He's based in Wimbledon, where they play all those tennis matches. Masataki is also a Google top contributor on the Google AdSense community. Suraj Gadagay is based in Pune in India. He currently runs a digital training institute, I think. He's a leading internet marketer. He once worked for Yahoo. All right, let's look at our questions for tonight. Let me tweak this and we'll go to the first one. Question from Anthony Sioki, and it's titled Choosing a Domain Name to Rank Better. Anthony said, hi all, a question regarding domains. I'm looking for another domain relating to my niche. So my question is, do I get one that has the niche name in it, and would I rank better?
I think we're going back to the era of exact match domains here. In the past, I think most people were convinced that Google did like some keywords in a domain, and in that way you would rank better. But that was back in about 1846, if I remember correctly. So forget the concept of ranking better. If you can find one that makes sense or is your brand, do that. That'll be memorable, and in the long term will help build your brand on the internet. Now, that in turn and in time will probably help your website.
Whatever work that you guys need. I would highlight.
I don't know what that was there. Anyway, shall I carry on? And now I've forgotten what I was saying. Yes, in the longer term, and if you are a big brand, the branding will have some value for you and will help you rank higher. But in the short term, don't worry. Just find something that is memorable, and that will help your business, but not in a direct SEO fashion.
Thank you, David. It was just that Masataki in the chat there was suggesting that you were a Crimean War veteran.
It's out. oh dear.
Okay, let's go.
I did manage to survive the Charles of the Light Brigade, unlike some people.
All right, JL Faverio has asked a number of questions of us. Here's another one. It's titled Paginated List, Index or No Index? And he said you'd no index the following type of pages. And he gives an example of example.com/blog/page /4//. I wouldn't no index them, and I see that Michael Martinez said he would not. And I must put a shout out for people like Michael who answer questions on our groups as people ask them through the week. How about you guys? What's your opinion on this one?
Okay, carry on, Suraj.
Okay, I was saying that, I mean, I read the comments and they've said that, if you're adding the rel next, it kind of takes care of the no indexing part. Of course, a lot of people think that, if you're adding as a no index, probably the crawler won't be able to discover the pages. But one of the comment that, follow-up comment was about the crawl budget. You should definitely no index, not add the no index tag, but have the rel equals to rel tag. And as far as increasing the crawl budget is concerned, you can still request Google if your site is huge and the crawl budget you want to increase it. I think you can place a request. So if you're worried about your crawl budget, so add rel equals to rel tag, have the pages not discovered. Again, if you're worried about the crawl budget, you can ask for Google to get to extra color budget.
Okay. All right. Yeah, on crawl budget, I'm not sure if that's well, it's really something over which we have no control. I see that Michael Martinez also said that that's usually a function of the number of pages on the site that Google's aware of, and the speed with which a server responds. They say it's true. I'm not necessarily sure it is, but Googlebot is supposed to back off if it's putting any load on the server. But if you do have problems keeping up with Googlebot, you've got deeper issues to solve.
Yeah, and for Google crawlers to know that it's no index, it has to crawl, right?
Yes.
And it will continue to crawl and see no index. We're not going to index it. So the crawl budget argument doesn't stand. I think I'd agree with Eric Wu's answer in the community. In that, well, next tree should suffice, and I don't think there's a need to overcomplicate things when there is something that would work and should work reasonably well.
Yeah. All right. The only little bit that I would add is that for J.L. Faverio is that it really doesn't matter what you do with these pages. You're going to publish them anyway. You're paginating them because the page itself is too long. If all of let's just say it was a product list of say 100 products, you might do 15 pages. You'd have 6 paginated pages with 15 products on each. Sorry, 15 pages with I've lost my train of thought. Maybe half a dozen products on each, or whatever. But why it doesn't matter is because Googlebot, unless Googlebot's changed recently, allocates a weight to the first page and then dramatically drops off for following pages. I don't know why they do that, because it really doesn't make that much sense, but they certainly do, or did in anyway. So it really doesn't matter. I would continue to display them. It's not going to be any burden to carry. Everybody happy with that? Let me tweak that and we'll move on to the next. This one is from Armins Moros on keywords distribution. I probably won't read it all, but I'll read part of it. Armand said, "Hi, I recently watched SEO Yoast videos, and it was mentioned about competing with yourself while using the same keywords on different pages on the same website. My website offers niche holidays to various destinations, and for SEO purposes, I have to use the same keywords on every product page. Would you suggest to make the homepage a cornerstone content with the main keywords instead? And then what about the 20 product pages? Should I disable keywords on those pages not to confuse search engines about which page is more important than another? Any help appreciated?" Well, I'm sure you guys will have answers on that. But just let me chip in with my 10 cents worth before you start.
No.
Okay, well, you go ahead.
No, you carry on.
After you.
Carry on, Jim. I'm just trying to confuse everything.
No. After you.
After me. Oh dear. Okay. Let's turn this into as Tim, this is not here. I could turn this into a Yoast rant. Yoast causes more confusion in writing content than anything in SEO, I feel. Yes, let's forget about the concept of switching on or disabling keywords. That's something within Yoast. The only way you can disable keywords is to take them out of the content. And your problem here, I suspect, is that if all your holiday pages have the same keywords on them, they are probably the same, certainly as far as Google's concerned. So whether they're actually ranking or not is another matter. There's the issue of duplicate content, and I would you've either got to accept that that these pages will be effectively just details of products, and Google will do its best to ignore them, and you want them just up there as product information. But if you want them for SEO purposes, then it's not so much the same keywords, although there is an issue there. It's the fact that you've got almost certainly substantially the same content on those pages. You need to make sure they are different, or else Google will do its best to ignore them. But the same keywords. Now, yes, there's this concept of keyword cannibalization, I believe is the terminology, whereby you compete with yourself, and Google will reportedly rank one page for that key phrase one week, and then another page for it the next week, and then possibly another page for it the week after. Or you manage to confuse Google enough that it won't actually rank them high enough anyway, because the recognition, the keywordiness will be spread throughout the site. So I think you need to have a look at site structure and see if, in fact, you can have, if we were in pink furry elephant land, where you would have a product page about furry elephants and a pull down for color and size and fluffiness. Is there a way of simplifying the content on your site so that you don't have pages competing? If they are substantially the same in terms of content, those pages, then if they're not substantially, if they're substantially different for those pages, those pages in terms of content, and there are only some keywords that are being shared, you may well find that you don't get cannibalization. But I think that your problem lies with content in a more general way here. You need to really make those destinations different in terms of content. You know, why should you go to Southend rather than Eastbourne? They're both seaside places with piers, but there's a lot of difference. So, you know, think a lot about what the differences are, rather than think in terms of what key phrases you want to rank for. Think about giving the right information to your visitors, to your holiday makers, to your customers. It really isn't a case of doing this mechanistic idea that you want to rank for, say, 20 keywords and that's it. There's going to be a whole load of keywords that your customers, your holiday makers will want. So don't get caught up in this Yoast view of content. Give your site content a real step back from it, think about it, make it different, and you'll find that you can work in a whole load of key phrases, keywords, and they should be ones that really make some sense to your purchase of holidays. I think I went all over the place there. I hope I covered everything. Did that make sense?
It certainly did.
Thank God for that. It's hot here in the south of England, you know. My brain is being poached. Okay, I think I stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have one point I wanted to add here. So the comment where Yoast says that you should compete for the same key, like you should be using the same keyword on two different pages. What it was meant, I believe, I have not watched the Yoast videos, is if you want to rank for a money page and you've targeted a keyword, you don't rank, but at the same time, if you targeted the same keyword on an information page without doing much of an effort, you sometimes rank for that information keyword. So we had this client who was into some sort of procurement software that they had developed, and we were trying to rank for that software page. We did a lot of link building activities, we did the on-page optimization, and we were not ranking at all. And sometime later, these people added a glossary page which had the exact same term about define what that software is. And apparently, instead of ranking the commercial page or that software page, that definition page started ranking. So I believe when Yoast says that you should try competing or you should use the same keyword on two different pages, what they meant probably is you should try competing for the money page and information page and see which page will give more value. So sometimes it happens that you search for a keyword instead of showing commercial results. Sometimes you see information results, And that's what it is. So for your case, I mean, when you mentioned it, probably meant in that way and not really using the same keyword on different pages. As David mentioned, you need to look at your site structure and probably think of, organizing the content in a fashion that, you don't do that keyword cannibalization. And instead, there are a few pages where you have the relevant key phrases targeted. So I would suggest when someone sees like use the same keyword on two different pages, I think they usually mean that one is on the sort of commercial LinkedIn page and then there is more like an information page.
Thank you, Suraj. Yes, to sum up what Suraj just said, keyword cannibalization is probably the term, and it is a thing. A simple solution, if you find that an irrelevant page, say like as Suraj said, that the definition page suddenly starts ranking for the page that you want to be ranking for that keyword, is take the content off the definition page and put it at the bottom of the page that you do want to rank. It's only going to leverage that page to perform better. But anyway, certainly it is a thing, but disabling the meta keywords tag really, Google pays no attention to it anyway. It's in the head content of the page. Google says that they ignore it. So do Yandex, so do Bing. I think we can move on from this one now. Yeah, we are getting a little bit of feedback, Suraj, but I'll try and sum up what you're saying. I can pick out a lot of it. I see David has trouble hearing, but then again, he is an old man, Suraj. You have to understand. It's one of the consequences of age. Anyway.
Probably is Amazon lost my ear trumpet that I ordered yesterday.
All right. No need to change what you're doing, Suraj. That last one was reasonably clear. All right, let's move on to the next. This one is from Corey Holmes on keyword positioning in a sentence. I'm not going to, I suppose I will. Corey said, I have a really granular question about keywords. Let's say my keywords were foo, bar, and foob tube. Consider these two sentences. We are here at foo bar and foob tube go through great lengths to provide customer satisfaction. It sounds like an ad for a knocking shop, David.
I was about to make a joke along those lines. Oh dear. No, I won't. Yeah, this is another. This is a bit like the last question in a way. This is an old worry about content. This is a pre-semantic age question. Google is a lot better at reading content and making sense of it than it ever used to be. It's not up to you to try and associate or disassociate key phrases or put them in particular places within a sentence or even particular places in the page. So write good content based on relevant and appealing key phrases, but don't worry about your sentence structure unless you're writing in a completely ungrammatical way, and then Google will probably ignore you and not rank you. So yeah, don't worry about keywords and where they sit in sentences. It's a worry perhaps that was valid in the past, but I wouldn't say it's valid now.
And in most cases, they do generate their own meta tags depending what the query is entered. So it's not even like, even you define the right meta tag, like a title and description, sometimes they generate their own meta tags depending on the search or query is. So it's not always even that you can control with the right meta title and description.
Thank you, Suraj. All right, let's tweet that and we'll head on to the next. This one is from Ankit Patel. He's asked a number of questions of us. Is the .com domain still the king for international SEO? The answer is yes. He went on to say, hello guys, is .travel, .software domain useful for international SEO purposes, or is the .com domain still the king for international SEO? Thanks. That's from the response for me is an unequivocal yes. It's still the king, and even .net would perform better than .travel, in my opinion. .org, .biz, .info, all of those older domains. I wonder if it's a consequence of them being older domains, David, in some cases. Don't know, but
no, I don't know either. But there was that thing that came out a couple of years ago. I don't know whether it's still valid, but there was some problem with these long these longer words, whereas .com and .com, .co and .co.uk or such old and established domain, they were fine, but there was trouble with the longer ones being cut off, wasn't there? But I imagine that sorts itself out. But I'm always a bit dubious about these. It seems like it's a way of domain registrars emailing us every few months and saying, you know, we've got a .Littlehampton. We've got these .Littlehampton domains. So okay, you get those, David Rosen .Littlehampton, and then a bit later they've got .West Sussex. Oh, I better have that as well. You know, it's just a load of money for nothing, I suspect. Why am I being cynical?
Yeah.
I am being cynical. Okay.
Anybody else? All right. I don't think we need to spend any more time on that. Oh, I've already tweeted that. All right. Our next is from Greg Christan, and Greg asked the question. He says, can Google read internal links that are written as display : none in a div tag? He said that here is an example page where the core page ranks because there is a direct link in the navigation, but the internal link to Chelsea Boots does not. I won't try and read out those, but we'll look to see if he said anything else. His assumption is that the link to the Chelsea Boots page can't be seen with the div display none tag. Is that true? Thanks.
I think with the display none tag, I've read somewhere that Google ignores your text during the crawling process. Now, I'm not sure about the internal links. If it is ignoring your text, whether they would crawl the internal link is still a question. For a fact, I know that if you use the tag, the content gets ignored.
Yep. I see there was an interesting conversation on the Google Plus SEO Questions group with Lyndon Nah and Greg. I won't try and read it all out because it goes to many, many paragraphs, but it can be seen either via dumbseoquestions.com or on the SEO Questions Facebook group.
I think just one thing I would like to add.
Plus group. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I was saying that, I mean, I was just reading through the discussion. So if the concern is a particular page is not ranking, and if you cannot blame just for not internally linking that page to the nav, there are different ways that you can make your page discovered, right? I mean, he's saying that he doesn't have any option to kind of undo what the change has been made, but as we know that if the content gets ignored, probably internal links might be also getting ignored. But if there are other ways that you can link these other pages through your other pages content, try that. I mean, if the objective is to rank, I wouldn't just blame not internally linking a particular page is the reason why your page is not ranking. There could be other ways to kind of look into it and see if you can rank that page. I'm not sure if blaming just that particular the internal link not being there would be a valid way to assess the situation.
Thank you, Suraj. That, by the way, it's much clearer now. I'm sure even David can hear you and understand you. Well, I think Masataki sent him some batteries for his hearing aid. All right. This one from Michaelis APK on the best practice to treat a seasonal page. Michaelis said, "Hi everyone, what would be the best practice of treating a seasonal page which will be back on next year and you don't want to lose link equity? What if I 410 it? Definitely don't do that. Happy to hear and discuss different opinions on this. Thanks in advance."
Yeah, definitely don't 410 it. I would, I think, as someone said, I think it was Tim on the group. I would take the menu link out to it out when it's not relevant, and I would leave the page until it gets updated. Or perhaps put a coming next Christmas message. But the point is, don't tell Google it's disappeared for good with a 410, and don't worry too much about there being an out of date page floating around if people can't find it. I would just call it a Christmas page, or or an Easter page, or whatever it might be, a school holiday page, and just update it every time. You can do things like countdown timers and all that sort of malarkey if that pleases you. But the point is, you want to keep keep Google from ignoring it when you've updated it again.
We have something similar. We have an e-commerce website that sells makeup products, and they have something seasonal products as well. So what we do in that case is there's a promotions section where the page is highlighted during specific time of the year. But let's say if that event is over, we don't remove the page, but just from the promotion section, it's pulled down. And what we do on the actual pages, in case it gets discovered by social means or by organically, we add a email pop-up. It says that like for the next season, if you want to stay tuned, just put your email address and we'll let you know when the products are there. So it's just like the email gets added to the list, and automatically next year they get notified when the products are added.
Thank you, Siraj. All right, let's go to the next. Did I tweet that one, David? No, I didn't. Okay. This one from Edgar Berjuano Okoa. How important is it to enable the SSL certificate in an informative website only for lead capture with no e-commerce?
I think it is important to get an SSL certificate and enable it. If someone is running the latest Chrome, it puts a flag up of some sort. I noticed that I haven't updated my my Chromebook here, but anyway, it has a flag which basically says this is an insecure site and don't trust it. Whether it actually gives you any SEO juice is open for debate. But if you want people to actually continue coming to your site, then you should circumvent whatever signs Google is putting up to say don't go there. So get hold of one. You can get a free one if you want to. If your site is something that you can't actually attach some profit to. The downside is that the free ones need updating every 60 days, I think, which is a bit of a pain in the posterior. Yes, so I would definitely get hold of an SSL certificate if it's and if those lead captures are important to you, pay for an SSL certificate and not have all the fuss that having a free one gives you.
Yeah, one more thing to add to it besides all this point. So if you don't have a HTTPS or a secure SSL certificate enabled, in analytics, what happens is if a particular site which is already on HTTPS, if someone is visiting from HTTPS to your HTTP version of the site, that traffic is considered as a direct traffic, though it is in reality it's a referral traffic. So I think that is that issue where in terms of reporting some of your data, which is actually a referral data, it's considered as a direct traffic.
Thank you, Siraj. All right, let me tweet that. Nobody has anything more. I'll go to the next. This one from Neil Cheeseman. Is there an industry standard for link colors? Red, blue, and purple, said Walter Muralshinsky III. I think we can all agree on that. No arguments from anybody?
It's a de facto standard rather than an industry standard, rather than a standard as in it's applied by a standards body. It's what most people expect to see. So I guess from a user experience point of view, red, blue, and purple are good to go with.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you disconcert people at your peril, don't you, David?
Yes, I would have thought you were the man to know that.
Thank you, David. Ditya Baba asked the question: how to rank YouTube videos in Google snippets? And Rishi Lakhani said video sitemaps. Aditya Baba said, but how? But Rishi hasn't come back. I think Rishi's remiss in this. He should have responded. Otherwise, what use is he? Anyway, I don't know how to rank YouTube videos in Google Snippets. Dumb SEO Questions has 295 episodes online, and our visitation is good. Our viewing is something like 500,000 minutes, but yeah, I'd love to know how to get more people to share in what we do. What's wrong, David? Oh, it's hot, is it? All right, let's. Is it worth tweeting that? We didn't answer it, did we? I better not. All right. Chris Marcus asked the question: search result, the index or no index? Chris said, when running PPC campaigns for large e-shops, I use queries and filters to make specific landing pages. If for SEO purposes, the client has disallowed the indexing of search queries, searches performed on eShop, the site loses the organic benefits and signals for these pages. I noticed that many sites are ranking well for pages that are queries and not categories due to PPC campaigns. And his question is, does he index or no index? And I would say index.
Depends what you're doing, and it depends how you're using these landing pages. If you're using them for A/B comparisons and you're making very small changes to them, such as different headline or different key phrase match in the headline, I would no index them because they're likely to start setting off all sorts of duplicate worries, and it really depends whether they're actually written with to fit in with the overall structure of the information on the site. If they are, if you've got a page about pink fluffy elephants. I must think of something that's not pink fluffy elephants, because that's Tim's. But Tim's not here, so I'll use them anyway. If you've got a page about pink fluffy elephants anyway, and you've got a load of landing pages having variations: large pink fluffy elephants, small pink fluffy elephants, two-legged pink fluffy elephants, blah blah blah, you certainly would want to no index them. So it really depends how large scale and focused down, how granular your PPC campaigns are. So yes, do they add to the overall content of the site in a sensible way? If not, no indexing.
Yeah, fair enough. And I see Michael Martinez agrees with you. He says it's best practice to use separate landing pages for PPC, and blocking via robots text or using no index directives. You can prevent organic referrals from diluting your PPC analytics data. Yeah, that is true. I better not disagree. Don't offend anybody.
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to add was, like, it's not about just ranking, right? Even if the pages are ranking and the people are visiting your website, but are they actually buying the product? Sometimes you'll have to look at your revenue data, which is an e-commerce website where they're trying to rank. Do they come, but do they buy the product? That's the question. I mean, I would still agree. I mean, I agree with David that you have to add no index, but I've seen specific sites, they utilize it smartly where the title reads as if it's a page, though it's a search query. So if you're able to sort of manage that, I would say try with that. But again, at the end of the day, I would look at the revenue that it would generate and then take a call on it, and not just because the pages rank.
Thank you, Siraj. All right, let's go to the next. We're 12 into a total of 12. We got through them all. Great. Is Google Plus a benefit for a local business anymore? JL Faverio said, I'm having an internal debate in my agency here in California. And is Google Plus a benefit for a local business?
What is this Google Plus of which you speak?
It's still there, and I tell you that interest on our questions being asked on it, still steady. In our SEO questions community, I think we probably answer 5 or 6 questions a week, and Linda Na is we've made Linda Na a moderator there on the SEO questions community.
Yeah, I knew that. Do carry on. Sorry, I shouldn't.
That's okay. Well, is there a benefit? I see David Kuchar says yes. Who else we got? Ammon Johns, he said yes. Dan Teese, all good judges so far. He says yes, it helps. And Walter says no. Google My Business is what you want. Well, isn't that Google Plus? Let me see.
I think what Dan says, not sure where it falls on the list of priorities. I think that's true, and I think, yes, it's a social channel, so do good things on it that know that works, that will work, and yes, Google Plus is a benefit for a local business. If you don't do good things on it, then it won't be. It's as long as a piece of string answer, I think.
Yep. All right. I think when I click this, we'll get, yes, it's thank you for watching time again. We've done it again, guys. We've answered all of the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google Plus and the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. Thank you to Suraj Gadagay, Masataki Wasa, and David Rozam for yet another good effort. And we'll be back next week at the same time to do this all again. But we'd like to thank you. I see that there are still eyes watching us. We'd like to thank you. And your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. And for that, we are truly grateful. We'll see you this time next week.